Captain America is one of the most iconic heroes around, and therefore any change to his look is made with careful consideration. But then again, sometimes his looks have caught us completely off guard. I'm Adam Andrews with Top 10 Nerd, and this is the top 10 Captain America suits that we can't believe exist. Coming in at number 10 is Yeoman America. Back in Avengers Volume 3, number 2 in January of 1998, Morgan Le Fay's reality distortion wave caused the time period to be altered to a medieval setting, which also altered the Avengers' clothing, speech patterns, and thought processes. For Steve Rogers, he became Yeoman America, so he basically became like a knight-like soldier with stars and stripes armor, a sword, and a more fantasy-like shield. There's nothing particularly fancy about this armor, no crazy upgrade or anything, it's just so fun. So fun to see Avengers in different time periods, and as Morgan's new elite guard, the Queen's Vengeance, all these time-displaced Avengers look super cool and unique, but none caught me off guard like Captain America did. Number 9. Hydra Cap. While this version of Captain America did appear largely in the 616 reality, he is actually technically from an alternate timeline created by a Hydra brainwashed Cubic who used her reality warping powers to make Captain America his, quote, ideal self. The problem is, since Cubic was being influenced by Hydra at the time, she created a Captain America who grew up being made loyal to Hydra. That was her version of his ideal self. He is basically a sleeper agent in S.H.I.E.L.D. under the control of Hydra, who eventually spring their trap. This Cap would eventually supplant the real Captain America of 616 and would organize what was essentially another civil war, as well as Chitauri invasions of the Earth. He got promoted to director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and influenced the legislation of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Act, which gave S.H.I.E.L.D. way more authority. The story was fun for me, but it was this Captain America's armor that was the real star of the show. For the most part, Steve kept the red, white, and blue of his classic look, until further near the end of the story he started to wear this green and yellow supersuit of armor, created by Arnim Zola using the majority of the fragments of the Cosmic Cube mixed with Tony Stark's tech to create the Hydra Supreme suit, and it's tasty. Is that a weird thing to say? Number 8. American Civil War. In What If Captain America number 1, Captain America first actually appeared in 1863 as a member of the Union in the American Civil War. This version of the Cap didn't actually receive his enhancements from a super soldier serum like he does in the mainline continuity, because scientifically that makes no sense. Instead, after being mortally wounded by an encounter with an exceedingly evil and very racist version of Bucky Barnes, he is reborn by a version of Sam Wilson who was taken in by the Shawnee, who conjures an ancient eagle spirit that makes both Rogers and Bucky Barnes, quote, the same on the outside as they are on the inside. And you're right, that isn't any more scientifically possible, but it's fun. His suit that he wore was more Civil War era appropriate, wearing a coat, pants, and boots of the Union. However, his classic helmet was replaced by more of a headdress with a shield made of unknown bulletproof material. Now, this version of Captain America could actually summon a spirit eagle that would fight on his behalf. The uniform was supposed to represent unity of all peoples in America, which is what this Captain America fought for and what he normally stands for all the time, usually, unless he's from the Ultimate Universe, because then he hates French people. Number 7. Secret Avengers. Now, what we have here is a much more subtle Captain America suit, but it is both my favorite and Chris Evans' favorite, the real Captain America, so I think it deserves to be here. When Steve Rogers became Commander Rogers of the Secret Avengers following the Superhuman Civil War, he adopted a new suit design. It's actually very similar to and was the inspiration for the MCU Captain America Winter Soldier suit. The suit itself is more subtle, like I said, featuring a dark blue color scheme with a simple silver star and like stripes design. It reflects the serious darker tone of both the Secret Avengers stories in the comics and of that MCU movie. In the movie though, it is referred to as the stealth suit and offers more maneuverability and a more Kevlar armor design. Most importantly, it's a suit that allows Steve to step out of the role of Captain America, always doing what is expected, and instead act as himself detach from his persona and to make the tough calls. Number 6. Gladiator Cap. In the battle world, in Secret Wars, there are many lands that hold mystery and enchantment, but none as much or with as much savageness as Greenland. First appearing in Planet Hulk number 1, this version of Captain America is a fighter in the battle world Colosseum on the outskirts of Doomstadt, and he fights alongside a giant red T-Rex named Devil. Yes, it's a version of Devil Dinosaur, which is as awesome as it sounds, and as it looks, because it looks awesome. That just right there is enough to sell me on this comic book, but this version of Cap wields a battle axe alongside a shield that I'm assuming is not vibranium, but it also takes a beating, so who knows. He also wears battle armor in true gladiator fashion, with long blonde hair and no helmet. He is sent by God Emperor Doom and Sheriff Strange to go into Greenland, which is basically inhabited by Hulks everywhere, with his mission being to eliminate the Red King. It's Gladiator Steve Rogers with a battle-bound T-Rex. You don't really have to ask any questions here, just go and check it out. Number 5. Sam Wilson MCU Captain America. At the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, fans were given the absolute treat of seeing Sam Wilson's debut as Captain America. Now, before wielding the shield, we all recognized Falcon as a hero by himself. However, his outfit here, which was ripped almost completely from his comic book counterpart, mixes his winged suit with a new and improved and armored Captain America suit, which had fans in a frenzy when it was revealed. In true MCU fashion, the new Captain America made one hell of a badass first appearance that left us salivating for more. From what we have seen of on-set photos though, it appears Marvel has changed Sam Wilson's suit somewhat going forward. I hope not too much though, because his new Captain America suit had such an impact. Did you like the suit? Let me know down below. Number 4. Peggy Carter. We all know who Peggy Carter is thanks to the MCU, and if you've seen the What If show, or now Multiverse of Madness, you know alternate versions of her get the Super Soldier Serum in place of Steve Rogers. Logically, this would make her a Captain Britain, which she is one of them as well, but a version of her appearing in Exiles number 3 in 2018 decided to become Captain America instead. And honestly, I like her Captain America costume a lot, and it was the inspiration for what her big screen counterparts don. I think there is a lot to this look that works really well, but I think above all of that, all it really took to achieve such an iconic look was very simply giving her a collared shirt and a tie underneath her armored and tactical looking Captain America suit. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's more spy and espionage vibes. It's subtle, but to me, it's perfect. Just saying. Number 3. Captain Avalon. We already looked at a medieval version of Captain America, yes, but if we shift focus to another reality, there is another. And just like Yeoman America, this one also changes the captain's name. In Avatar's Covenant of the Shield, Steve Rogers is now Stevan, or Saint Von, or Stevan. Look, if you don't want to struggle to say it, he also goes by Captain Avalon, which is way easier. Captain Avalon belongs to a group known as the Champions of the Realm. They're basically this world's version of the Avengers, and Avalon is their leader. Fun little fact for you, Captain Avalon recently made an appearance in the sequel to LEGO Marvel Superheroes, like the video game, but under a somewhat different context. In the actual comics, Stevan's son is stolen away by Dreadlord, who is essentially this world's Baron Zemo, and this prompts a reassembling of the Avengers, aka the Champions of the Realm. The interesting thing to note here is that this was actually set in Earth 616, just in a different planet created by the Living Tribunal and his fellow cosmic entities. But you know what's cooler than even that? This suit of armor. It's awesome. Number 2. Captain Colonies. Here's an interesting question for you. What would Captain America call himself if America never came to be? Well, funnily enough, in the great multitude of the universes in the Marvel landscape, there is indeed such a place and such a captain, who instead goes by Captain Colonies. Yes, it does feel kind of weird, but that's what this version of Steven Rogers becomes on Earth 4103. What sets him more apart though from the other Captain Americas is the fact that Captain Colonies is actually a member of the Captain Britain Corps, suggesting that this Captain America is an amalgamation of Brian Braddock, aka Captain Britain, and Steven Rogers. The problem is that he has only featured sporadically in the comics, having first appeared in 1991's Excalibur number 45. before, but so far he hasn't ever been the focus of any major story. His look isn't terribly different from Captain America's look really at all, it's just been Britishified. I think the idea of a Captain Colonies is where the unbelievability of this character comes from. There's no denying how strange a premise it actually is, and how in one version of the Marvel Universe, the Founding Fathers were just like, actually, nah, we're good. We don't need an America. Get out of here. Number 1, Soldier Supreme. There are so many Captain Americas out there that surprise us completely, but how about a Cap with the mystical and magical powers of the Sorcerer Supreme? Well, we get that in Infinity Warps when Gamora, wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, basically folds reality in half, merging characters with other characters. Now, one of the two merged together, in case you didn't catch on, is Captain America Steve Rogers and the Sorcerer Supreme Dr. Stephen Strange. The result would be Stephen with a PH, Rogers, the Soldier Supreme. He fought in World War II against the German Hell Priest Dormammu Red and would use his super enhancements and military training alongside his mystical and magical abilities. During World War II, he teamed up with his Howling Commandos of Hoggoth, including Dum Dum Fury and Bucky Wong. And later in the modern era though, after returning from banishment in the negative zone instead of being frozen, he would team up with Iron Hammer, Arachnite, and Weapon Hex to battle against Devondra. Yes, that's a lot of names. I'm sorry, but he's also very cool. Check him out. And there you have it, 10 Captain America suits that we can't believe exist. I've been Avengers, you've been watching Top 10 Nerd. I will catch you all on the flippy flop. Stay safe, peace out.